How's everyone doing? Just getting their stream started. Let's see. The title is looking good. I think that's what we're gonna do. Let's see. All right. Let's see. We'll open up Western code. Where were we? Oh yes, enums. Enums. Or to make how to make our events. I'll show you what. I'll show you. Let's go over to here. Yeah. Show you what I was thinking of. Let's see. Here will be an example. This. I was trying to do something like this, but failing pretty hard. Failing pretty hard. So, let's go over here, uncomment this out. This did not work nearly like I had thought. So what we might need to do is look up Surdy. Let's just look Surdy. Overview. Let's see. So here we have enum e. This looks like what we want. This is what I was thinking would happen. It would be W. We would have on. So this is a pipeline event. Let's uncomment this. This is what I was thinking we would have here. We build a vector of actions. And this well, I mean, it's actually just one action. Oh no, we need event. Yeah. So this is the on action, and this one is, the on action. But if we run this, let's delete this. That is not giving me what I was expecting. Let's run this. first it did this. I don't want that. This was weird. Per the documentation, that's not. I want it like this. So then we were looking at this. This is where I pretty much stopped, and we wanted externally tagged, but that's the default representation. So I'm not sure why it's doing this, unless if I'm doing something just heinous. Good evening, Russell. Why is it outputting like this? Also, we didn't want like this. Even if it didn't have the exclamation point. Let's say it did do this like it should, or what we were expecting. We wanted it to be on PR like this. We want PR. But I think I know that part. I think I know why that happened. And that's because here in our pipeline events, first I guess this should be on to represent correctly. There's hopefully it should be a capital. Hopefully we can fix that with like a statement. The on action right here really needs to be PR. But that means like this almost needs to be I feel like this is actually going to be kind of a complicated thing to deserialize because we wanted to have multiple things here to be on, like this, where you could be on push or pull request or whatever it is that you wanted. So I almost think what we need to do here is a pub enum. I've never done this type of work on in Rust, so we'll see how this goes. On action instead of a struct. Hey, that's actually pretty cool. Kind of like these fork, golem, installation, issue, member, page build. Wow, that actually got like a lot of them. On star. Yeah, you could do anything on any one of these events. Okay. That was pretty cool. Nice job, GitHub Actions. Call me impressed. All right, on action. They kind of got what I was going for. Okay, so then this needs to be that. And we can slap this up there. And we can get rid of that. We can delete this. Did you you put release in here twice, GitHub Actions? I just said good job. I feel like every single time I compliment you, it bites me. Okay. Release is in there twice. Repository dispatch is in there twice. Beautiful. Status. Definitely in there twice. Okay, so almost a nice job. Let's just call this public enum on, because I think that's going to serialize a little bit better. We'll call this on. Actually, no. I think we'll call it on. We'll leave it like this. Let's see how this serializes. So now we'll just do this. Pull request. Like that. And we'll see how this serializes. I don't know what Golem is. I have no idea. They all looked great, except Golem is weird. Installation is weird. I'm not sure that these are ones either. So like these look weird to me. I was gonna go back. I doubt Git has a security advisory, but GitHub could have that. So like some of these are like GitHub. Like I know Star is, Teams are, Team Add. So yeah, and I'm not even sure On would have these. Like Team Add would be like watching your not a single Git repository, it's your Git. So not all of these make sense. I am still impressed though. Git Golem. Golem is a Git based wiki, so it's a Git thing. There you go. It was trying. It was trying. It was trying. Bless its heart. We're just going to delete these. I'm still mostly impressed that it came up with this list out of thin air. Again, Milestone is like a project thing. We can support that in the future if we wanted to. That would be like a more GitHub built integration. Same with release. Honestly, I'm really push to a branch, pull request, merge, maybe release. I would call this cron probably on cron, but schedule is fine as well. Workflow and repository dispatch. This is actually like GitHub Actions specific way of doing it. Everything else, I could care less of. Maybe on issue or issue comments, but again. All right, so let's see how this serializes. Let's delete this file, delete it. Let's run this. I'm not sure why it's doing this. This is not what I meant. I don't even know what on project card means. Maybe I'm less impressed. It just really threw a bunch of stuff in here. Okay. What am I doing wrong here? This says that request this thing here will look like this, which is what I'm looking for. Obviously, so Surdy, one of the things is like this is not Surdy YAML. Surdy YAML uses Surdy but implements YAML for it. Let me see if Surdy YAML is doing something interesting. Struct serialize in the obvious way. Enum serializing usual. Oh no. That's not what I wanted. Yeah, you're probably not wrong. I have a vivid imagination. This is more like a bot. So, you know, for me, what I was thinking with label is like you could label something for regression tests or to retest or things like that, which could tell a pipeline to run. That is one of the things I thought with issue comment. You could do kind of the same thing where you issue a comment that you know you like put a command in. Yours was when a new issue is raised. A new issue. Yeah, I don't know about a new issue, and I think these are probably stretching it. To be honest. I don't know. Maybe you want to make sure, like, in your system, it's flagged that there needs to be a test. I don't know. I didn't write all these, just so you know. Uh, they were auto completed. I don't. It has public in here at least, Russell. At least it knows how to spell public. You know, that's all I'm gonna throw out there is they know how to spell public. This bot did not learn how to spell public. GoPilot didn't learn to spell from you. But we can remove that one. We can go page build. I don't know what that means. Member. I don't. Again, don't know what what's on member. On pull request review, pull request review comment. I don't know that. I don't know that either of these are valid CI/CD, unless if like on the comment we had an integration, you could have a command in the comment, but I feel like a tag is easy enough for that. Star I think is frivolous, but I do think that people would like to be able to access that. Like, how many stars do we have? Team, I don't know. Team add, again, no. Watch, yeah, you could do stuff. I don't know. I wouldn't do anything on Star Watch, but I could see people doing stuff on Star Watch. That I'm just gonna delete those though, because those are like pretty heavy GitHub integrations. I mean, Fork is a pretty heavy GitHub. I could see that. I still wouldn't do anything, but I could see where people would, maybe like if their developers forked a repository, it built that, an environment for in AWS for them or something. Oh, you can spell, you just can't type it. Sorry, I was in a bad mood yesterday. I was so annoyed about the stupid Russian thing. I don't even know why. I'm not having a good. All right. So this is SerDE-YAML. Is there another SerDE-YAML implementation? So maybe we don't use SerDE-YAML. SerDE is about the only thing that I've used. Oh, it doesn't have the YAML 1.1. So does that mean it doesn't have YAML 1.2? YAML 1.1 is pretty old. Right? 1.1 is like 10 years old, right? Wow. The 1.1 YAML is like, yeah, 2005. I thought, don't ask me why I knew off the top of my head that it was over 10 years old. Yeah, 1.1 is a long time ago. Also, do be careful. The differences between 1.1 and 1.2 are actually pretty big. So do be careful. You really want to be on 1.2 or the latest. I actually want to do a video on it called "You Suck at YAML" because this is very confusing, and effectively is the reason you have stuff like. Do you know why people will do stuff like this? Wow, I can't type tonight. The reason you have people do stuff like this is because in in 1.1, this would be a number, not port 8080. All right. SerDE-YAML with quirks. Oh wait, this one looks good. This one, okay, let's look at this one. The Yambler, I like the name. I'm going to give you a look just for the name. All right, the build's failing. The build's failing. Got it. So, you know what? I guess my question, it's almost like YAML's not fit for purpose. Shh. Don't say that out loud, Russell. Don't say that out loud. We cannot upset the YAML lovers. We have to support them. They don't know any better. Somebody today told me that, somebody today was like, oh, I just want to use YAML because JSON's schema never works right. And I was like, you're right. JSON schema does not work right, or it does work right, but it's really hard to use effectively. But YAML is worse. YAML is just like jumping off. It's like giving up TypeScript for JavaScript because TypeScript isn't really types. It just is fake types on top of a typeless thing. Like, I did not understand. I had to walk away from that. It was like 6 p.m. for me, anyways, and I walked away from that meeting. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. All right. Let's look at the Ambler. Now, what I'm wondering, YAML do, agony. Yagany and YAML do. Those need to be projects. I don't really want to be a YAML parser, but they just need to be YAML do. I just want to see that in like make the de facto YAML deserializer, so you can call it YAML do. Would be fantastic. Now, what I'm wondering is this is how it's serializing. This is how it gets serialized out. But I'm wondering if it reads it in okay, because I think that's where maybe it might. I want to actually try this. Oh. I wonder if this will serialize in correctly. Isn't that called marketing? Product management? Is that what you're saying you'd be good at? I do believe it's hard because you can't go to Hey guys, board, let me tell you about this awesome product we have. Now the best part is every single time somebody goes to import this or reference it or talk about it, they're going to have to call it YAML do. I think that's the problem. That only works in open source because you get to force them to do whatever because you wrote the project. No, marketing is soft sales, which is basically saying marketing is soft lies. All right. So I wonder if this right here serializes in. That's what I'm going to do right now. We're going to just hop back over here. We're going to flip this over to 2. Read config. We're going to put this to YAML 2. And we're just going to run with this. Run test. Failed. No, it expected a YAML tag. All right. The Yambler it is. The pull request is in WIP. I just put it out there so that you could see the code. So maybe that's not how you work, and if that's not, I won't do that. I just did this. I just put this WIP in there. Yeah, I'll change it. That's good. So this way you can just give me feedback early. So this is good feedback. You're just giving feedback on what you see there, and that's great. I actually was thinking about this all yesterday. Probably what put me in a bad mood for all your Russia comments. I don't know why I took it so personally with my AI generated art. But I actually think this is a good video because I think like there's some really good valid points about why an assert is not just a panic. An assert has like some metadata that goes with it, and so like I really feel bad because I didn't. Weeby Wizard asked some really valid points that I just didn't know off the top of my head. I know that this looked ugly, and I know that we said that, but I didn't have valid points off the top of my. It was like 10:30 p.m. for me, and I just didn't have the valid points right off the top of my head. And I feel like a short 5-minute video might be really nice on this. Yeah, no, I was not going for merge. I was just saying like, hey, it's there. Still working on the events as they're not quite what we want. Guess I did say other than this, I think it is good, which obviously it's not, and that's fine. So it's a larger PR. So I was just opening it up for people to see. You know, there's a bunch of stuff that went on. I could get for larger PRs. I like it, especially if it's open for several days, because then I can get some feedback. All right, one thing that I was just thinking that we could do here, I think that honestly, enum is 100% the way to represent this, but it's not the only way to represent this. It's not the only way. I don't like what I'm going to about do. I don't think that was English, but what if we do this? I'm gonna just see if Copilot will auto generate this. Pub struct on action. It's getting the idea. Didn't get all of them, but something like this. Again, I don't think this is ideal for for Rust. Rust enums are just so powerful. I love Rust enums. Rust match case, like once you get familiar with match, enums and memory safety are like the big things that are like, this is why you use Rust. And SurDy is giving us the middle finger on this. You know, now we're going to have to make types for each one of these, which is fine. It's fine. I don't know why so much of the code that I write, I go with, it's fine. Not optimal, fine. You know, in the future also, Russell, with this, to help make this a little bit clearer, we can do, I think that there's actually a label called whip. Or we can create one, and then hopefully, if you have a label, so we can do whip here. If you have it marked as whip now, it should show up here, yeah, as whip. So maybe that will be a little bit more clear too. I don't want to cause people confusion, and I don't have to do this if it is causing confusion. I just had done a stream on it, so I thought I might as well get that up there. That was all. All right, so I think I'll just do this for right. Well, let's see if we can't get this looking right, and then we'll fix it. So we'll call this on this, instead of pipeline event, this is going to be a struct, and this is going to be on. Can't spell on, and then this is going to be of type option on action. Gorgeous. Then this is going to be webhook action. We'll need a struct for this. Oh wow, that actually got it has the branches. Okay, I like it. I like it. It's thinking. Pub struct on push. Cool. On schedule. It knew I wanted cron. I knew I liked you. Come on, give me the next one. Give me the next one. Not gonna do it. You suck. I wanted webhook action. Pub struct. No, it's webhook action. You know what it is. Web hook. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to have in there, so we'll just leave it as action ID. We'll call this webhook. All right, and then we'll do the same here. Okay. Beautiful. We need to copy and paste this on all of these, or else it's not going to be serializable and whatnot, because they bubble up. Let's see if that fixed this. Yeah. So basically, for these to be all serializable and debuggable, everything that's below it needs to be serializable as well, or else it can't be. Yeah, and so when I do a whip, most of the time, unless if there's distinct parts, which is fine, most of the time at the end of a whip, when I'm ready to go, I'll actually take all the commits and squash them so that, like, okay, well, for while I'm working on this, there'll be a log here of like, oh, I did this one little thing and whatnot, and then when I'm done, I'll just squash it. A lot of the times I don't do this, but if I am working on like a multi day thing, or especially if I'm in on stream and people want to see what I did, yeah, again, I don't have to. If people don't like this, I cannot do it. And that's fine. I'll only cry a little. We need it on schedule. Wait, isn't why is it one? Oh, this is duplicated. I did it twice. Whoops. We'll delete this one. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this. Oh yeah, slap that down here. Oh, we already defined this as well. Oh, right there. Oh, yeah, yeah. Wait, what was complaining then? Oh, nothing was complaining. I was adding code for no reason. I was just adding code. All right. So let's update our write function here. On action pull request. So yeah, this is because we don't have this anymore. Okay, so let me think. We want to test. We want to write out the. You know what I want to do? Instead of writing all this, which is more work than I want to do, I just want to see if what I think the YAML will look like. I think this will be PR now. Let's flip back over to that. So we're gonna have this. Wait. We're gonna have events on PR, and PR has branches. Oh, this needs to be an option of branch. Oh wait, how did we do this? We did this with default. We did this to default of empty list. Let's do that because I think if you say actually, do we want it to be an empty list? I don't know that we want it to be an empty list. I was gonna say, oh, if it's empty list, we do it on all of them. But is that really what we want? I don't think it is. I think like if you make it on PR, you should have some branches. So let's actually update this. So on lowercase on PR on is the on action. The on action has PR, and the PR has a list of branches that are strings. Okay. Let's see if this works. And then we don't have to build all the struct out with fake data to then write it to a file, which is more pleasant to my current disposition. All right, so we'll read in YAML example 2. Let's see how this does. Cool, that worked. Pipeline on none. Wait. No. No, you don't. No, this is a horrible one. I read the config here. I don't need to read the config here at all. This just unwraps it and forces an. This is dumb. All right, let's get rid of that. What were we doing here? Oh, wait. This should be P. Oh man, this test was bad all over. It was using this. Don't let Copilot write tests for you. Like I say, Copilot. This is the problem with AI stuff right as it is right now. I think it makes you faster. I didn't have to type out a bunch of code. Well, obviously, I'll have to retype all this because it's just wrong. But yeah, you still have to really think about what it's typing out for you. Okay, let's run this again. I feel like it's wrong. We're doing it to example 2. Example 2 has all right, well, let's it should fail without this, right? Wait, did I not save this? Maybe I didn't save this. Let me try saving it again. All right. Let me make sure that it was saved. Maybe that was it. Aha, maybe I didn't save it. All right, how would be a good way to test it? This is one of the things I am actually working I am actually working on trying to make a video on that. How would I pragmatically test whether it's faster? And so the first thing that came to mind, and this was my first idea, was that I would go and try to write the same thing, one without it, one with it. But then I'm biased anyhow because I've already written it for one test or the other test. And then I was like, well, I could get one of my friends to do it. And guess what? We write code at different speeds. So that doesn't really help because a lot of my programming friends are actually faster at writing code than I am. So that's also not a good test. Do it manually first, but don't you think like it would bias me when I was doing it with the AI? I would know quicker how to tell it what I wanted to do. Oh, okay. Okay, so you're saying like you do it and you implicitly trust the AI and only go back and fix errors? I don't think that's a real world. And by that I mean like in real world you shouldn't just implicitly trust. I know that sometimes we do because we're like, "Oh, well that's what it said, let's see if it worked." Because that's something that intrigues me on how often it is right. Okay, we could try that. I don't think it's a perfect test, but I think maybe that would be a good test. What kata do you think I should do? Yeah, yeah, you shouldn't just implicitly trust it. That's for sure. Oh, this only failed because its name was wrong. Horrible test. Horrible test. It serialized it incorrectly. Well, it serialized the file we asked it to. Our events, it has on, but it has none still. Oh, wait. Wait. What is this? What is this? What is this? This is a very descriptive name. It should... Let me put this in this one. Now, originally I had distinguished like repo events. I don't know if we want to go back to that. I'm just getting this working. We could, like, I was thinking that there could be events like webhook events, but we kind of separated that out. Like this is on repo events. I don't know. I think this is fine. Okay, let's see if this serializes in. I'm a little confused as to this entire mess. Oh no. I should not have been able to read the config file in. I'm confused as to what happened. This is test read config, not the fail condition. All right. Yeah, it's still not getting the pipeline events in. On none. It's the same way you shouldn't just pull code from Stack Overflow, and it never happens in the real world. I have never done it. Trust me, I have never done that. I would never do something like that. Nope. Of course not. This is not the... events on... Let me look through here and make sure we haven't done something stupid. I do that occasionally. So we have on... PR. All of these are optional. Interesting thing here. Is it saying that the PR was none? Or its value was none? I feel like it's saying its value was none, but that's weird because then it's saying that webhook and manual were both there. Let's look at wait, let's look at this here. So we're expecting a vector of events, some events, and this is what they can be of. That looks right to me because that means you could have two different ons if you wanted to. Although you shouldn't really have to do two different ons. You should be able to, like, I don't know, on should have a list, probably, actually. This action should, you know, PR should be a list of PRs. Yeah, so, like, oh, this is called branches. I'm a dum-dum. This is wrong. 1 second. So there could be other things than branches. I wouldn't have thought that it would have serialized in, though. Huh. It's reading in the station. Station metadata in my first station. Name none. Description none. Dependencies none. Input none. Output none. And we have 2 steps. 1 step, 2 step. Then we have our events. On. Alright, I guess I have to go build this object. All right, aim for one that takes 30 minutes, roughly 30 minutes, and then see how much faster. That's a good one. I'll do it. I was hoping not to build this whole thing, but I think that's what we're about to do here. Because obviously I'm missing something. I am not doing something right. So our on action, we need on pull request. We need an on pull request. Do main. All right, wait, what's going on here? Why did I think it just added an extra curly brace. Okay, cool. Cool. Ambiguous associated type. Use fully qualified syntax on action as trait on pull request. We don't need that. It's an on pull request, and we didn't import it. So what I'm going to do is pipeline events star. I know. Shouldn't do that. I'm going to do it for right now, though. Honestly, it's probably an okay place to do it because we're really just importing everything that we want to export. We should probably be explicit, but for right now, I'm doing star. In a month, I can worry about not writing star and slowing down a little. Okay, action, pipeline event. Do we need an action? Yes, we do need an action. So on pull request goes inside of an on action, which we are going to set PR. So we'll do on action, PR, some action, push none looks good. Yep. And then this works. So that really wasn't nearly as bad as I was kind of complaining it being. I should have just started with that. I didn't want to do I hate doing this. Expected pipeline event. Uh-oh, where did this go wrong? Line 56. Oh, we need to put this action inside of a one second. On action goes inside of a pipeline event. This is like reminding me of, have you guys ever watched, there was it was way back when, but Red versus Blue Turducken? This reminds me of Red versus Blue Turducken. Probably not politically correct. I don't remember too much of it to actually say whether it was or not, but everybody loves PE. Oh. Oh, they actually had the oh, that was weird. 1 second. On some action, man. Yep. On PE, and then we're expecting PE over here. Beautiful. Oh no. I did something bad. Oh. We can discuss whether we want to go public or if we want to do access methods. I think this is my opinion that for data classes, which these are pure data classes, like these shouldn't have logic, these shouldn't have whatnot. You just go public, and that's what they are. They're data class. If they're not a data class, if they're not a data struct, then you go with access modifiers and everything's private. Pretty much I'm like one or the other. Like you either just make them all private and you add accessors for the information you want to access, or it's a data struct and it's just full public on everything. I am This is a pet peeve of mine that I have to use Copilot to get, and this is something that like new people struggle with. They struggle with what do I import? Does a vector require an import or does a hash map require an import? And if so, where do I import it? Do I know that it's in collections? It's an annoying thing. Go VS Code Go does a much better job of this. And it's a pain point. I mean, even for me, I don't always know where things are to implement. This is what I thought I did. I love that it wrote these out. Let me compare this with what I did. I thought this was what I did. Obviously, maybe it's not what I did. Oh, wait. Let's put them side by side here. Oh. All right, well, let's see if this can do us the courtesy of actually serializing in. Wait, did I save it? I did now. All right. We've done it. We've done it. Oh, Rust Analyzer and NeoVim, it can be done? Maybe I just need to go to that. I use Vim. I am not a Vim power user. I can use it just fine. I am not a power user though. All right. Sure, you need to know which if there's multiple. For sure. Do you know what actually really annoys me? It's one of the powerful things about Rust, but also can be really annoying. So you know how you can like make interfaces and then like implement them for like the standard library, and this works great, and it doesn't affect anything else in your project unless if you include the file that has that implementation for it. But if you don't know where to include that implementation, then it's very difficult to know what you need to import to actually get that functionality. It's powerful and really frustrating when you follow an example that uses that, but you don't know what it is that, like, why your code is failing. All right. So, what do we need to do to clean this up to make it a pull request? Let's fix our tests. Yeah, let's fix our tests. Let's actually do this. So I'm going to leave this down here. And we're going to do these for real. I don't think we need a match case in here, do we? Let's see. How would we do this? We're going to do... Let's... pipeline equals read config. Let's see. That's the right path. Docs. Yep. I think it's fine to call unwrap here. This will cause a panic, but that should also cause a failure. We could just actually handle it, though, with an assert. I think I'll do that. I think that's probably the right way to go about it. I actually do prefer camel case over snake case since everything does camel case or Pascal, whatever you want to call it. But I follow. I follow. Snake case isn't horrible once you get used to it. We don't want to panic here. What we want to do is assert. Silly. Wait, why are you? Oh, okay. Wait. I'll just do this. I could just call panic, I guess. I don't think that that's great, though. Now I'm kind of going back to a match. No. We had a better way of doing this. I'm only doing this because that's how I did it here. I think I just do unwrap because then it will panic if it panics. That's not part of my test. I think this is fine. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I'm just going to write this out, though, as I would. And then, let's see. What do we want to assert? We want to assert on things like this. Let's do this. We expect that name. What else can we check? We should have 2 steps. So let's validate that we have 2 steps. Assert equal pipeline dot metadata. No, it's not metadata. It's steps. Stations dot length is equal to 2. All right, we're actually, let's set it to 3. Run this and make sure that fails. Left 1, right 3. Wait. It says there's 1? There's 2. Oh, there's 2 steps. There's 1 station. Okay, no, it's right. It's right. I'm wrong. Like I said, I was making sure it would fail. I knew that. 1. Okay, yep. Perfect. And then we're going to let... Yep. This, which should be fine. Station... No. I want steps. Length equal to 2. Beautiful. All right, and it passed. Nice. All right. So we can just delete this now. Maybe not perfect test. Testing what you read in from a file is always interesting. What we really need to know is exactly what we find important about the example file, and then that way we're actually testing it. The nice thing is that we will be testing what's in the docs, which is nice. I'm going to delete this. We don't need it. What I'm going to flip over and do, though, is I am going to delete this. We don't need to test the right config. Now, this is... You know what I am going to do? I'm going to take this function, and I'm going to check it in, not under tests. I'm going to check it in over here. Not as a public function, so you can't access it outside of here. And correct me if I'm wrong. I was thinking, Russell, I would just check this in so that people could just generate a config if they like. And all this boilerplate was here for them. You let me know otherwise, and I'll delete it right now. We can make it a little bit more generic in the future if we like, where we could have like you pass in some stuff or you know, a few different things, and it, you know, whether you want it to be an on or a webhook or whatnot, and it generates the basic table. But like, that's the idea. Now, do we want to test the failure? I don't know that we even want this test. This would just be testing a bad file. Now, I think we should have validation. Like, is this valid? But that's not reading a bad file. That is actually like saying, oh, well, you have to have an event. Actually, that's a good one right there. You have to have an event. So in here, we have one event. If you have no events, is it really a valid work? I don't think so. That's what I was thinking. We should have a builder, 100%. That's what you should have with your data structures. I just don't have one right now. I can just delete this, though, and we can build a builder later. And... yeah, we can just build a builder later. Well, I mean, that's why I put it just as a function here. Like you could just call it either from a test to trigger it manually or from like CLI. But yeah, we should just do a builder. I'll just delete it. It didn't do anything specifically amazing. So, but then this wouldn't be read config fail. Like again, this is just a bad test. This would be test validate YAML, validate config. And this should run our config validation. And we should have some validation up here. I don't have any validation on this. And so I don't really feel like writing validation. Because I could just write validation in here, but really what we should do is probably have like a validate on each struct. So, you know, like the pipeline one has a validation that says, hey, I have to have an event. I was thinking there would be like an event called manual. Because the reason I was thinking there would be event and it would just not be no event is because you'd probably want to do you'd probably want to do like declare what inputs you want in it. So like in this example here, not in this example, but in this example, if we did instead of on, if we did manual, part of the manual data structure would be something like arguments or something. And, you know, in here would be a list of arguments that, you know, like... Yeah? So I think a PR could be manually run. So this could also be manually run, but what is its argument? Its argument is the branch that you're trying to target. And so you need to provide that value. So if I go to run this manually, you just click the rerun button. It's still rerunning this event though, right? You're manually doing it. You're manually running it, but you're manually rerunning it. I think that's a little different, yes? I mean, if we follow GitHub Actions example, a one like this can be rerun. So this one just has on PRs, and you can go into it and you can rerun the failed test. Maybe. I don't know why this one's not letting me rerun it. Generally, you can rerun it. Oh, I removed this workflow. That's why that one is probably not. It might be that these are just too old to rerun. These were like in November of 2022. So like this might just be that this is too old. It doesn't have like the artifacts and stuff left over. Are we making people... Is manual always allowed? I don't know. Wouldn't allow... So, like, you're saying these things like the person couldn't come in here if they wanted to run it locally and put on or manual. It's not that it's not allowed. It's allowed. You can go put it in there. And if you have no arguments, you don't have to do anything but this, right? So if you have a build, let's say this is our build pipeline, and there's no arguments. Everything's right there. You don't need anything more than this, right? Now, if you want to put arguments in there, you'd have to do this, and you'd have to actually specify them out. I don't think it's too much to say, hey, if you want to run it manually, because this just fits our flow, you have to actually declare that you want it manually. But yeah, you should be able to click rerun on these. And they just rerun whatever it was, whatever the target branch was. It just runs again. My thing is, if you run one of these locally, so on the server, you need to make a code change and push. What do you mean? On the server, you need to make a code change and push. Code change and push. If you wanted to be able to go to the server's UI and run it manually, yes, you'd need to make a code change, this, and push it. Yep. Absolutely. So, for example, you don't want your deploy to production to be run manually. You remove it. Or, maybe one of the things is like we have a part of this is we have our arguments, but we also have reviewers. So, like, if you run this manually, maybe we can say you need XYZ reviewers because it is a deploy to production and there's a gate. If somebody's going to do this, they need 2 people to sign off of it. Whatever. I haven't thought that far. But yeah, if on the server you wanted to manually be able to go in and run this one, like, you can't run this manually. You can't click the button and run it manually because I didn't put a manual event. This just triggers on pull request. I think that's fine. I think it should be defined in the environment as... I think the gate should be defined in the environment, as the average dev wouldn't have access to make the change to that config. I agree with you, and that's why I like GitOps, and that's why I'm not trying to really solve that here, right? If you do real GitOps, it's a pool. And so this pipeline would really only be used to build artifacts, to do, to run tests on PRs and stuff like that, the environment for deploying to production would pull what it wanted, right? So I think I would agree with what you're saying. I just don't think it's necessarily the job of assembly line. Why would it be powered by a pipeline? I don't think so. If you were using Argo CD, it wouldn't be. Well, it depends. It depends. Let me draw out how I would do it, and then you can tell me that I'm a moron. I'm a moron. We'll go right here in this dark area, right here. All right. So we have our code over here that has some AL pipelines in it. These pipelines have everything from build container, run unit test, run end-to-end test, run security, SecOps, ECT. So they can do all of those things. And then you have your production environment over here. Prod. And in here, Argo CD is running. Now, you can do it either... You can either do it in this one, or how I actually like to do it is I say I have a YAML Git repo. And this YAML Git repo is what Argo CD looks at. So it says I pull this describes what's in production. So to update, so making a change here does nothing to here. Now, generally how I do this, there is dev, stage, and prod overlays. I keep hitting save. What about non-Kubernetes production? Okay, so in non-Kubernetes production, I'm going to have to just be real with you. Get on Kubernetes. Have you not been watching my channel? I'm sorry. I just have to have a little fun. I do all this streaming. I'm just trying to have fun. I was just teasing around. Okay. So you're right. And I'm sorry, because a lot of the times I think about this how I would use it. And not everybody would use it like I would use it. So that's a valid point. And in that case, I don't know. Do people even use Kubernetes for production? Get part of the cool kids. Okay, so in that you might, but you might deploy to production on a PR, you might make it manual. And then even if you did make it manual, would you allow them to push to production from their local computer? We are building a CI/CD system. No. I mean, it's a very fair point. A lot of the times I think of it in a Kubernetes environment. It's what I deal with a lot. And so I think that's a fair point to say that I wasn't thinking about the people outside of the Kubernetes environments. Um, but you're right. You're right that this should work and empower people outside of Kubernetes environments. So that's a fair criticism. That's my bad. I wasn't thinking about it. But seriously, get on Kubernetes. Just do it. All the cool kids are doing it. I don't know why I look at the mic when I'm talking serious. I'm like, I'm gonna talk to this mic. I don't even know what we were fighting about now. I forgot the main point. I know it has to do with around manual running, but that's all I'm. Oh, if we lock down pushing to production to the server, it would require pushing to server to change it. I think that's correct. Yeah, we were discussing requirements. I am completely fine locally saying, "Oh yeah, you can just say that you're running this on a PR, but you're actually manually running it." I think that's fine. You're going to have to give it a branch because it expects a branch. That's like part of the arguments for a PR on PR. But I think you should be able to run it manually now, but I think possibly I don't think that we need to implement this now or worry about it. We might want to say from the server that you can't run something manually if it isn't designated to be. I don't ever want that, I don't think, but I could see that. It's just like really good RBAC. We'll eventually need really good RBAC. I just don't know if there's a use case for not allowing. I also don't know. I don't know if, but that's kind of. So my thought was, it's not about not allowing manual run. I think. Let me try to explain this. I don't think that it's about not allowing manual run. I think it's about what if you have something that isn't designed to be run on an action, and all you want is for it to be manual. Then I think it's very valid to just have an event's a manual. I don't know what this is, but this is something that you just manually want to run. Even on the server, you just manually want to run it. I think this is very valuable. That doesn't mean that you can't manually run a PR branch. It just means that this is very explicit, saying, I want to be able to run it, and we need these arguments. Because, like, for this one, we would need to know what branch it was on. So I think, you could have something like this, because, like, if you run this manually, you need to have that information. And again, if you wanted to make this where it wasn't running on event, you'd need to have some way to designate that. And this is what this does. Now, without that event on, and we want to have a purely manual thing that we run or can run, and a good example of this would be like, we want to build to AWS Marketplace. I currently have a manual thing that does everything, but we only do it when we want to do it. So it's literally just go in and actually do it. Yeah, so I feel like now, whether, and I think going back to your question, whether we want to be able to say this isn't allowed to be run manually, that I can't really say. And I would say that we wait for somebody to ask for that, and then we ask for somebody to pay for us to support it, and then we do it. I don't know about that, but I think that's a little bit of a different question, I guess, because in my mind, you could run this manually if you wanted to. But yeah, I do have pure manual GitHub actions. I actually have a couple pure manual GitHub actions. So one that's a pure manual is when we have a new AWS account, it configures the AWS account with like security and stuff. We don't add a new AWS account very often, so it's purely manual. We have another one to add a user to our authentication. So like that one should be automatic. It's not. That one should be automatic, but anyways, yeah. Right, so you always need a event element, and if you have no other event, you need manual. So basically, if there wasn't anything in here, like when does it ever run, and if it is purely manual, you need to be able to tell it how to get the arguments that it needs, because it could require quite a few arguments. Actually, the ones that I have that are manual require quite a few arguments. We can make those another day, though. I'm not gonna make. I didn't really fully flush these out. These are just like really. Yeah, I don't know. This is not correct. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm gonna make this PR because I think the PR is in a pretty good spot. One thing that I was thinking about with validation here, do we create like a do we create an interface here for like validate that these can implement that has a function called validate? Is that how we want to do this here? I mean trait, sorry. I said interface. I switch between languages. I use the most common denominator. I know Rust, their traits, almost every other language, their interface. I get it. Um, oh, you're right. Objective C is funky. Objective C is funky. And the fact that it was used up to like 2015 is even funkier. So I was thinking we could do something like pub trait. Uh, I don't know how much I like this. I'm just thinking validate. Probably come up with a. Yeah, maybe a string just of like an error, like a message of why we didn't like the validation, and then we could implement validate here. And yeah, then we could basically call validate on stations if we wanted to. For here, what we're going to do is if events dot length equal to 0, return error. And then I think the same for stations. If stations dot length is equal to 0, must have one event, one station. There we go. And then maybe if metadata dot wait, what is the field on metadata? It's ID. Why didn't it come up with that? If metadata.id must have an ID. Oh, yeah, sorry. Self.events. Self. stations and self dot metadata. There we go. This is like a really rough, and then we can implement it for stations and events, and those can go and validate themselves, and then that way we can actually go here and in our yeah, it makes it so like you can validate any one of the parts. Like each one of them should implement validate, and every substruct should implement validate, and then you can look at the validation for that structure. And the parent ones only deal with the relations of their substructures. They are not actually validating the substructures. It's a pattern I've used in the past. It's worked. All right, let's look at this. Let mutable pipeline read config. Okay, unwrap. I don't actually need all of this other stuff here. So it was trying to do all this stuff, which I actually think is what I want to do, basically. It's thinking that I didn't do the nesting in the function. This is actually kind of brilliant because I didn't, what I should do here is I should loop on each of these events and stations. But these don't actually implement validate yet, and I don't think I need to today. I'm actually going to make a good first issue for adding validation to all of our data structures because I think that's a great first issue, and I don't need to do it. And if somebody wants to join in, they can do it. So let me actually do that before I even implement this. We're going to go and create a good first issue. I don't know what Fluent validation is in .NET, but it sounds amazing. I wasn't sarcastic, but it was kind of sarcastic. I just call things amazing when they agree with me. um, okay, so I think I think sometimes it can be really easy for us to fall into a trap of like, oh, this would be easy. I'll just go do it and knock it out. I'll get another PR in there. But then you don't leave it for somebody that could actually learn to get into the project with it. I know I've been bad about this. It's just really nice for people trying to get into the project. And I'm not saying we have to like leave everything that's simple, but like validating the YAML further really doesn't matter to me right now. I can move on and get much more important things done, and it's a great first issue. Logic for uh, configuration structs. We have a when I push the code, I'll actually put a link in here to where the initial implementation is done so they can go and see this code. Not this code. This is garbage. It's not garbage. I actually think it's trying to be a little bit smarter than oh, did I not call it validate? One second. What did I call it? I did call it validate. I did call it validate. What is it complaining about? Oh, the trade isn't in scope. Okay, so we didn't import it. Can we just we can't just do that. We need to like yeah, okay. Saving all the things I couldn't fix as first issues. Okay. Can unresolved import create pipeline. Wait. Pipeline. Okay, yeah. One second. There we go. I just thrown an extra pipeline in there. That's how I roll. All right, so now validate should work for that. And I think that this gives us a good test. So I'll actually link here in that test, and I'll link to here. Here. We should have a validation interface that should be implemented on all the configuration structs. Initial implementation on pipeline struct is here. Pipeline should call validate on substructs. Each struct should have their own validation. If there is no validate, we could actually, this is a good video actually, we could create a macro. So basically a derive. So we could make a derive for validate that basically is like, there is no validation for this. Like it is what it is, because I think that's probably a lot of these or some of them. And it would make it convenient where you don't have to make a validate, but I won't do it. Should I call out? Maybe what I'll do is I'll scope this down. For a first user, what I want is I want validate on pipeline events and station. Maybe just stations. Let's do that. We have a validate interface that should be implemented on all the configuration structs. Let's start with stations. Labels, good first issue. Milestone. Do we have a milestone? Proof of concept? Yeah. Project. Assembly line roadmap? Yeah. All right. We have a validated interface that should be implemented on all configuration checks. So let's start with stations. Pipeline should call validate on substations. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. On substations, pipeline validate should be updated to call validate on substations. And is there something that we could have them validate? Let's see. They need to have more than at least one step. Although we're kind of forcing that with that this can't be null. Okay. Because we're not defaulting it. This SerDes default will default this. I think it's fine. I'm just going to put that they need to have at least one step. All right. Now, is this all up to snuff? Let me check the original pull request. I know that there was some comments. Let's see. No. We have updated this. Let's see. We have updated this. We do not use default, which is what he was asking, because I think there needs to be an event, but pipeline events actually work now. Try using the example YAML as it is, but test it and it should be working. Okay. Okay. So I think we've covered all this. Let's update it and check. I need to make some GitHub actions for this. I want to make some tests for I don't think I'm going to do linting yet, and I'll tell you why. Because sometimes these get annoying when it's not. You're like, I know I didn't use the SQLite connection yet because I the only thing I've done it is in it as a test. I don't know. I feel like at a very young state, some of these can be. Maybe I shouldn't though. Maybe I should be more disciplined. I feel like at a very early state, I don't care about these as much. But we should at least test that it builds on a pull request. At least. If we don't test on some more of these. Clippy would probably have a cow right now. Maybe 2 cows. I think we need to state a maximum number of warnings. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably a good idea. Because you're right, it can get out of control. And then it can be like this daunting task that you never want to go back to. Maybe I'll just try to be a little bit more disciplined. I was trying to move fast, and so like yeah, there's just some things that aren't used, but I could just underscore them better. I could be at better. I don't like underscore because so to me, underscore hides it under the rug and it says, "Oh, this is a problem and it's not used," and now I may never know that it is. So I actually prefer to leave it as a warning. 25 per crate. Okay. I can look at doing that as a GitHub action. Yeah. Because it is nice to have a few that you can get away with, just because again we are testing stuff out and changing stuff rapidly. But 25 sounds reasonable. Yeah. So I think 25 sounds reasonable. But yeah, sometimes it will complain about stuff like, "Oh, this struct is never used," and you're like, "Yes, but I'm going to. I'm going to. I was just starting. I was just starting. Please don't hate on me." I think if we ran Clippy right now, wait. 3 warnings for the CRI. Shame on you, Russell. 5 warnings for config. It only gave me 5 warnings. I actually thought it was going to be much worse. Okay, server did 8 warnings. I get it. That's actually not too bad. That's not too bad. Yeah, so, my thing with Rust is when we get it to production, I'd like to have 0 warnings. Like that would be my goal, is to always maintain 0 warnings. Like when it's stable. But if you go for 0 warnings now, it can make things really painful because you're like, oh, I added underscores, and then I never went back to ununderscore those things because I forgot about them, or even worse, like you did stuff to use it, but that stuff wasn't real stuff, so you did extra work to just make sure that Rust didn't complain about it, and I didn't want us to get into that since we're so early on. But also let not have it out of control. 1,000 warnings. I have seen projects like that, and then it becomes daunting. No one wants to do it because it's like I'm gonna go in and spend a week fixing warnings, and that's a sucky job because you're fixing other people's code. Maybe it's also partially your code, but also other people's code, and they're not. Yeah. Anyways, that's never fun. That's never fun. So we definitely shouldn't allow. I think 25 is a great place to start, and we'll see how that feels. And so I'll try to get a GitHub action that goes for that. That sets a number of warnings. I like that idea. I've never done one that it's usually like none or like they're allowed. I've never done with one with like a number, so I'll have to figure that out. Actually, get Reese. Oh no, I did delete the example too. Okay, perfect. Never mind. That's deleted. Oops. I went right into. That's not what I meant to do. All right, whatever. Add initial YAML pipeline support with file IO. I think that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much it. Wait. I thought I just did a rebase. What did I do? Okay, I want this one. This one's the right one. So, yeah, we will accept the incoming. Of course. I was not thinking. I did a 1 second. Get rebase abort. I squashed already. I just need to push. It says that I'm 1 ahead because I rewrote history. Get push force done. Wow, I was not thinking. I was like, why is that? Okay. So I'm completely against changing Git history, but I don't consider it Git history until it's in this main assembly line. That's my take on it. It's not history until it's in the canonical source of truth. I probably should put a new line here. Gross, gross, gross. Let me add new lines to those. Metadata and mod are the two that are. Did I not run format? Yeah, 25 is a decent amount of free play. I agree. All right. Well, I didn't. Cargo run. Oh no, I just want cargo build. All right. There we go. That should clean up these because FMT is not going to let that go. Yeah. It fixed it. This their warning for new line is the warning of the old file, which I don't think it should be there, but it's whatever. It's whatever. Okay, I will remove whip from this. I think it's good to go. All right. There we go. Let's see. It is 10:30. 10:30. We are not I'm not I am kind of tired actually. It's kind of a good stopping point. I think I might just stop here. I do need to actually I need to work on I wanted to update the README. I want to make this a little bit more accessible. Just if there is somebody that tries to get started. I was gonna try to make us an assembly. I got frustrated with trying to make us an icon, and partially it was like it's just a lot of work to even like then take one of those icons and make it like an actual icon. Um, Thought it would be nice to clean this up though. Let me think about what I can do here. I think work on API server is the next thing, and the decision engine. And then I need to do this as well. I'm actually making. I feel like I've made decent progress for a very on the side thing here. Bye, Russell. We'll have to create a YAML daml do. I love the concept of the library. YAML daml do is the de facto YAML library. Let's see. How's everyone doing? How is everyone doing? Let's see. What was I thinking? Okay. Yeah, we don't have any of these things until that gets merged in. Done. What I was thinking is this getting started. This readme sucks. I kind of just dumped our brainstorm in there. We need like a getting started. Let's start with a getting started. Getting started. I don't know how to describe how we're getting started. We'll just start a little bit here. And then we'll also so we're working on this. I got the oh wait, you know what? We don't have a bot, so I need to remove the label. We do not have this label anymore. So we just got this PR in. So that's good. Good, good, good. Let's see. I do believe the Discord server is right here. Beautiful. I do believe this is actually described. Let's see. Kubernetes. What is it called? This is it. This is the one I like. So I'm just going to link here. Not what I meant. This feels like not even worth making because, well, I don't know. Need to do a little bit more. I might think on this tomorrow. Might think on this tomorrow more. I don't like this brainstorm because I don't think this brainstorm makes sense if you just look at it. Like, if you go over here and look at it, this brainstorm doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense to anybody, unless if you were in the meeting that this was made. No sense. So, yeah. I think what I need to do is get a different picture. Let's see. Let's see. What are some of our other goals? Let's see. I believe. Let's check out here. Let's see. Each. Oh, branching logic is a good one. Let's see. I don't know that we need to call this out. Okay. I think it's a good set of goals. Okay. I'm going to work on this more tomorrow, I think. Oh, yeah. I need to think on some of this. I just wanted to make it better for newcomers that are coming in. I know that we got some people asking questions in the Discord, and I wanted to be able to like point them to a better document. I need some pretty pictures, so we'll have to do some picture scoping. But yeah. Oh, you know what? Let me do this really quickly. We need to reference our getting started. Where do we want to reference our getting started? We have our pipeline structure. This needs updated too. Getting started. Yeah, let's just throw it in here. So let's make this. There we go. All right. We'll come up with something better when we squash it. We're going to put this in whip. We'll put the whip label on there. All right. Cool beans. Well, I think I'm done for the evening. Hope everybody enjoyed themselves. If you'd like to get started, our documentation could be better. That's for sure. All right. Have yourselves a fantastic